got a team from back and I got the information from backend team. I missed to record it. Thank you. Thank you for your heads up. Once the code gets uploaded into the GitHub, client do not want the source code. They want an application which is up and running. So what is the next part of action is to package the source code, package the source code, and generate an artifact out of it. We need to generate an artifact for it. So we know that we use build tools for packaging source code and generating an artifact. So let's experience it. We already, for that reason, we have already installed Maven on our personal laptops. So let's experience the concept of building an artifact. Before jumping into the process of building an artifact, okay, you need to developer needs to follow a step-by-step process. A developer needs to follow a step-by-step process of building an artifact. Okay, look at this. Now we'll be experiencing the process of building an artifact. If you want to create a wizard which helps in generating an artifact, the command you need to run is mvn archetype generate. Friends, mvn archetype generate is a command which helps in triggering the artifact generation. The moment when you run this, I want to trigger the process of generating an artifact. So I do that by using the command called mvn archetype generate. When you run this command mvn archetype generate, you get some series of numbers. Those numbers are called as Maven numbers. Please experience this. Generating a project in the interactive mode. Let's wait. Let's interact with Maven. Let's experience what does it say. Yes. We have experienced Maven is giving us some series of numbers. Look at this 29663, 2962, 2961, 2960. There are a lot of numbers available. Observe, there are series of numbers. Okay. And then what it is prompting for. It is asking for choose a number. It is giving you some series of numbers. It is asking you to choose a number. Every number is having its own importance. Every number is having its own importance. You need to enter a number 1740. We, in the sense, developer will enter a number 1740 if they are building a Spring related project. Numbers keeps on changing different from version to version. They will enter number 1244 if they are building a MVC based web application. They'll enter a number 2630 in case if they are building an application related to mobile app, mobile platform like Android or iOS. Like this, every number is having its own importance. If they are building a web application, there is a unique number. If there is a building a mobile application, there's a different number. If they are building a EJB based application, there's a different number. If it is a Spring based application, a different number. If it is a JSB based application, it's a different number. If it is a servlet based application, it's a different number. Every number denotes a unique type of project. Development team knows what type of project they're building. According to that, they provide the right number. In our case, I am providing a default number 1805. I am providing a default number 1805. What does this 1805 refers to? Let's experience it. One 1805 refers to we are building a sample Maven project. We are building a sample Maven project. Okay. So that's the reason I'm building a sample project. Okay. So I'm using a number called 1805. I hope it is very clear. I hope it is very clear why I'm using 1805. That means I'm building a sample Maven project. Next. When you enter 1805, it will ask for the version. Please take the version 8. This is the quick start version. It is asking for the group ID. This is something important. If you are building a commercial based application, then you should mention com.project name. If you're building a government based application, your group ID should follow this convention gov.project name. If you're building a non-profit based organization, a project for a non-profit based organization, you mention org.project name. This is the convention what we need to follow when you're building an application. Let's say I'm building an application. I'm building an application. Okay. So let's say my client is Facebook. So I write it as com.facebook. Okay. So this should be the group ID. Artifact ID. Artifact ID, whatever the value you provide in the artifact ID, the final file, the result of the artifact, the result of this Maven is an artifact. Is it the artifact file name will be the same name which you have mentioned here as part of building the project? Clear about this? So let me provide my group ID. I provide the group ID as Facebook. It is asking for the artifact ID. Artifact ID can be anything. Let's have a meaningful name. Let's say I'm building an application for Facebook. I want the artifact file name should be the same name. So as per my requirement, I write it as web app Facebook. Just take the default value, takes the default value. Are you sure you want to build the package? Yes. The project has been successfully created. A sample project structure got created. A sample project structure got created. Where the project structure got created in C drive users admin web app Facebook is the directory that got created. This is a sample project structure. I have built a sample project structure. What are the values I have provided? If you look at the quick recap, we have provided an Maven number. You get a lot of Maven numbers. This is the command to generate the project. You'll have a lot of Maven numbers. You have entered a sample Maven number. And the most important thing is taken a version called 8. Group ID is nothing but the naming convention. So let's say my client is Facebook. I'm writing it as com.facebook. And I have provided my artifact ID. That's it. The project got created. I have done creating a sample project. I have done creating a sample project. where exactly the sample project got created. You got the information. The sample project got created in C drive users admin. This is the directory where the sample project got created. I want to visit this particular location. So let's go to this particular location, C drive, users, admin. What's the name of the folder? Web app, Facebook. This is a folder structure got created. So Maven has created this particular folder structure. Okay. Okay. Let's open this folder structure. Let's open this folder structure. There'll be some default folders gets created and some default file gets created. Look at this. Let's open the folder structure. In this folder structure, there's src folder and pom.xml file. I have opened the sample project structure which was generated as part of Maven. It is giving us src folder and pom.xml file. src folder and pom.xml file. If you open the src refers to source code. src refers to source code. If you open the source code, it again contains two more folders, main folder and test folder. Let's experience it. I'm opening the src folder. As expected, it is having two more folders. As expected, there are two more folders, main folder and test folder. Let's try to understand the importance of main folder. Let's try to understand the importance of test folder. Code created by the developer. Code created by the developer will be available in the main folder. This is the main folder which contains the actual project code. The code, the complete code related to the project should be available in the main folder. Next. Code created by the developer to perform unit testing. Developer also performs unit testing. So unit testing related code should be available in the test folder. Okay. So where you have to place the code, you have to place the code in the main folder. You have to place the code in the test folder. Okay. So let's come back to this one more file called as pom.xml file. Okay. Pom.xml file. What is pom.xml file? I hope you remember there's something called Maven Global Server. It's nothing but the search website, maven.org. And you know there's something called Maven local repository. Developers requires an APIs. Developers requires an API. Developers will search for the required APIs from Maven Global Server and download these APIs from Maven Global Server to Maven local repository, isn't it? That's what I have mentioned in the previous session. Let's say the development team needs 3 APIs. The development team needs 3 APIs, one API related to Google Map, one API related to MySQL connectivity, one API related to Oracle database connectivity. They need some set of APIs. Whatever the APIs which the developer wants, he will search for those APIs in the Maven global server, identifies the right APIs, and that API information, he will mention it in pom.xml file. So what is the importance of the pom.xml file? Look at this. POM stands for Project Object Model. It's an XML file which will contain the external API information. All the APIs which are required by the development team, those APIs will be mentioned in a file called as pom.xml file. So that is the importance of pom.xml file. Got it? So what did I do? Quick recap. I have created a sample project structure. Where was the project structure got created? The project structure got created in web app. Facebook is the name of the project. The project structure is having 2 folders, one folder and one file, src folder and pom.xml file. src refers to source code. This is the location where the source code should be placed. The actual source code related for building the application will be available in the main folder. testing related source code should be available in the test folder, and the APIs which are required for downloading the from the Maven global server to Maven local repository. That API information we need to enter it in the pom.xml file. That's what the development team will do it. Clear about this? I'm sure you'll have questions. Let's have a questionnaire round. 1 minute, please. 1 minute, please. So, Rahman, your question.
Hi, Sunil. Rahman here.
Yep.
Yeah, Sunil, my question is regarding the attributes and the path which you mentioned while installing Maven. What exactly it is? Because I'm not from the coding side.
Your question is related to the Maven installation.
Yes, yes.
Your question is related to what are the environment variables we have used and what exactly the path settings we have done with respect to the environment variables.
Yeah, how it is work.
First step, Maven, Rahman, we have downloaded the JDK.
Yes, right.
Am I right? And we
Yeah.
have installed JDK.
Yeah.
And we have taken a note where exactly the JDK is installed. It is installed in start program files.
Yes, right.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So that path where the JDK has been installed, you need to mention it in the Java underscore hem environment variable. We have mentioned that, isn't it?
I
Okay.
guess we have mentioned that, but why? What exactly it does?
No, your system should know where exactly JDK is installed, isn't it? Okay.
Okay.
Your Windows operating system should know where exactly JDK is installed, isn't it?
Okay. To
You
use
have
the
to
setup
mention that
file, we
it's a
have mentioned
communication
the
with
path.
respect to operating system with the Java. Okay, so that's the reason there's a predefined variable name called Java underscore home, and you're clearly pointing that my JDK is installed in this particular location. Okay,
Okay.
clear?
Okay. Yeah. Right.
And your operating system should also know where exactly Maven is installed. Okay,
Okay.
so that's the reason we have downloaded the zip file and we have created a variable called m2 underscore home, and we're pointing to location where the Maven has been extracted. Okay, clear?
Okay.
Those are the reasons here. Yes, Santosh.
Hi, Sunil.
Yep.
I have a couple of questions.
Yep.
As you have showed regarding Maven and the path to be, is it possible for a MacBook also? Maybe how
yes,
the
it
path?
is 100% possible. You can download and install configure JDK in the MacBook, but you need to figure it yourself how exactly we need to create environment variables, equivalent environment variable name and path will not change. You need to know how exactly the variables needs to be environment variables to created in the Mac operating system so that you can configure it.
Okay, and one more question is,
Hmm.
once a project is in the GitHub and several developers are working.
Source code is in the GitHub.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And there are few developers are working and there is like 10 or 20 or 100 commits are there. How can we go back and check a different developer commits?
Repeat your question.
How can, let's say there are about 10 commits and
And
two
by
commits
one single developer, 10 commits.
10 commits from 3 different developers.
Okay.
And I want to check third developer commits.
Okay.
How can we go back? There is after that. Maybe
Now, first point, commit is nothing but with reference to local repository, isn't it, Santosh? Okay.
Yes.
So first, it's an untracked file, isn't it?
Yes.
Moves to staging area, moves
Then
to
local
repository, and then again he creates new files. Don't think that pushing is a continuous process. Committing to local repository continuous process. Okay, once he wants to project to his manager saying that my part is done, then only then he will push the files into the remote repository. Okay, committing is frequently done at local repository, but pushing is done only once. Okay, once the local repository is perfect with the code which is developed by the developer, then only he pushes the code into the GitHub repository. Once the code is pushed into the GitHub repository, we can also verify which file belongs to which commit. Okay, which
Okay.
file belongs to which particular commit. You can track that information. Okay.
So if dev1, dev2, dev3 are there,
Okay.
and dev1 has pushed the
You can
code.
also see the files which do you remember at the local repository level, developer has done some configurations. He has configured his user.name,
Yes.
isn't it? Okay, user.name and user email, isn't it?
Yes.
He has done some configurations, isn't it? So these configurations will also be reflected. Using these configurations, you can also see which files are belonging to this particular user. Okay, and not only which files belongs to which particular user, which file belongs to which particular commit, you can differentiate.
Yeah,
Okay,
example,
Santosh?
dev1 has pushed the login page, and after that dev2
And
has.
you can see here, for example, yesterday, last session, we have created a repository called REP5, I think so, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, REP4.
77 REP4. This is the repository URL, isn't it? You can
Yes.
also see the configurations, my username, Sunil Kumar K11. Okay.
Okay.
So these are the files which are uploaded by this particular user. This configuration, I have done it at my terminal in the local repository, Santosh. Got it?
Yes.
In the same way, you can also see this is the commits which are belonging to this particular file. Okay. Similarly, you will find a multiple users and the corresponding commits.
And
Okay.
on the right side where there is a one commit, if it goes up to 10 commits, how can we go back and check the fifth commit or sixth commit?
You cannot see the series of commits. Okay.
Only the
Because
latest can be seen.
no, here when I'm pushing, it's only specific to one commits. Okay. All
Yeah.
the files are related to one commits. For example, there are 5 files related to A commit. There are 3 more files related to B commit. You can see here A commit 5 files, and below that there'll be 3 more files with B commits. Here you can see the list of all the commits also. Santosh.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do one thing. You create commits. Okay. Create 3 files. Create 1 commit. Create 2 files. Create 1 more commit. Total you have 2 commits. Then push it. Both the commits will be displayed here, and those commits belonging to this particular user also. You can see the credentials. Okay.
Okay. That's fine. Thank you.
Yes, Maheshwara Kumar.
I have got it actually because from GitHub we are trying to upload it to from local repository to the global repository. Means like sorry to be am I right? Means like global repository is the place where all the developers will upload their code.
You are
actually.
right.
So from there, from the code, we are trying to build an artifact. Actually, that's where we are putting this Maven. Am I right?
Exactly. Perfect.
So means like the source code will be converted into
I'll show
as
you.
a
We'll see
build.
it. We'll see
Yeah,
it now.
yeah.
Okay.
Right. Thanks.
We'll see it now. Okay. Fine. So right now source code is not available. It's a sample Maven project. Isn't it? Maheshwara, right now it is a sample Maven project which was built by Maven, isn't it? So that's your
Yes,
doubt.
yes.
We have SRC folder and pom.xml file. That's it. Okay.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
we'll start how exactly we will place the source code in the SRC folder. Okay. Perfect. So code created by the developer will be in the main folder. Code created by the developer to perform unit testing will be available in the test folder. The APIs what the developer wants will be available in the pom.xml file. So you now know the importance of each and every folder and the pom.xml file. POM stands for project object model. Next. Now what I do, as this is a location where the source code is saved, As this is a location where the source code is saved, generally when location where the source code is saved, we convert into working directory. Look, the folder where the source code is saved, we convert into working directory. So this is the reason web app Facebook is the name of the folder where exactly I'm placing. This is the location where we are placing the source code. This particular folder I convert into working directory. How do you convert into working directory? I open the terminal, git bash. Right now my git bash is pointed to the location where we are planning to save the source code. So I convert this particular source code into working directory by using the command called git init. When you perform git init, the folder gets converted into working directory, isn't it? Now, what are the files available in this particular working directory? We have two files, one folder and one file, pom.xml file and src folder. So these two files, this one folder and file, obviously, they're called as untracked files. Git status. The pom.xml file and the src folder is an untracked file. So what I'll do, I move it into staging area by using git add dot. And then I move into local repository by writing a commit command. As I'm doing the commit for the first time, I'm writing it as first commit. Got it? This is a location where I'm saving the source code. So location, obviously where the source code is saved is a working directory. So I have converted the folder into working directory. Next. Now let's learn about Maven Global Server. Maven Global Server is nothing but the site. Maven Global Server is nothing but the site search.maven.org. In this particular site, what the developer will do, developer searches for the required APIs. Developer searches for the required APIs. Let's say, for example, developer needs some APIs related to Google Map. Let's say developer required for this particular API. He searches for the Google APIs. He identifies the right version. Let's say this is the version he wants. Once he identifies that this is the right version of APIs, what he wants, now what the developer will do, developer will copy the dependency tag. Can you see? Have you observed there's something called dependency tag? For our reference, I'm copying the dependency tag. I'm showing you in a separate file. The developer picks up the dependency tag. Developer picks up the dependency tag. From where he picks up the dependency tag? From search.maven.org. This is the right API what the developer wants. Once he needs that API, he picks up the dependency tag. And where does he place this dependency tag? He places the dependency tag in the pom.xml file. As I have mentioned, I hope you remember just now I have mentioned that pom.xml file is a file which will store the API information. This pom.xml file should have an API information what the developer wants. Developer wants the APIs, he identifies the right API, he picks up the dependency tag, and this dependency tag, he'll place it in the pom.xml file. If you open the pom.xml file, I'm opening with Notepad++. The pom.xml file will have dependencies tags. Can you see here? There's a plural called dependencies. Inside dependency, there's a dependency tag. Every dependency tag refers to one particular API. Now developer wants one more API, so he picks up the dependency tag. He picks up the dependency tag and places the dependency in the pom.xml file related to Google Map, and then he saves it. That's it. Next, let's say developer looks for an API related to MySQL, so he'll search for APIs related to MySQL. Let's say this is the right API he wants related to MySQL. He picks up the right APIs, he identifies the right APIs, he copies the dependency tag. He copied the dependency tag, and where he should place this dependency tag related to MySQL. This dependency tag related to MySQL, he should place it in pom.xml file. So finally, you will experience a pom.xml file which contains the dependency tags, each dependency tag referring to the API in Maven Global Server. Clear? Yes, Arvind.
Hi, sir. Like, I just have a doubt in the group ID. You know, such that we will be using com dot and related
There
stuff.
is a naming convention which you need to follow when when they're referring to group ID.
Yeah. Actually, it's not like, every time we will not be creating a web application, right?
Where
We
did
can
we
even-
mention that it is a web application?
Oh, okay.
If it is a commercial application, if it is a government-based application, it's a non-government. This is a industry standard.
Okay.
This is not a web application or a mobile application or no different. It's not the nature of the application. It's a whether it's a commercial
Yes.
application or
Okay.
government application. Okay,
Okay.
okay, Arvind? Okay.
Okay.
And clear
Sir, and
about
one more.
yeah. Next question.
Yeah. One more thing is like in main folder we will be having all the code created by us, right? Like the developer.
The entire code, not by one developer.
Yes.
Group of
On
developers. The entire project code
Mhm.
will be available in which folder? The main folder.
Main
You're right.
folder. And whatever the piece of code we want to test, we'll move that into the test phase.
Test folder. Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And then the
Okay.
pom.xml file contains the
API related information.
related what the developer wants. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Arvind?
Yes, sir.
Now, what we have done, Arvind, quick recap. We have developers searched for the APIs, identified the right APIs in Maven global server. Am I right, Arvind?
Yes,
And
sir.
then what he has done, he picked up the dependency tag,
Dependency tag.
mentioned the dependency tag in the pom.xml.
Dependencies. Yeah,
Right?
dependencies tag in the
The
pom.xml
pom.xml file. Okay.
Yes.
Just mentioning the dependency tag in mom.xml file is not enough. We need to download those APIs. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it?
Yes,
We need to. They need to download the APIs from where to where?
Maven global server to local
Maven
repository.
local repository. Yes. We have not downloaded. We have just mentioned the API information in the pom.xml file. Isn't it, Arvind? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now look at this. Developer searches for the required APIs. For example, he searched for MySQL, he searched for Google Map, and then he copied the dependency tag, pasted in the pom.xml file. Once he's done this particular task, he opens the command prompt. Now he's pointing to the command prompt. Okay. Then, not this one. Where is the command prompt? Yeah. This is the command prompt. Go to the location where the project structure got created, Arvind. So this is the project structure which got created, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
My web Facebook folder, and here he writes a command called mvn compile. Observe when I run this mvn compile command, observe what happens. Arvind, please observe the result of this mvn compile command. Can you see downloading? Can you see what's happening here? Can you see the words downloading? What is getting downloaded? The APIs are getting
APIs.
downloaded.
Okay.
Done.
Okay.
So mvn compile is a command which helps you to download the APIs. Which APIs? The API references we have mentioned in the pom.xml file. It uses the pom.xml file, identifies that the APIs, the required couple of APIs, and those APIs are downloaded into Maven local repository. Okay. Now, as part of this action, previously there was only in the web app Facebook folder, there was only src folder and pom.xml file, isn't it? Now, because of this, the result target folder got created newly. Previously, there was no target folder, isn't it, Arvind?
Yes, sir.
There was no target folder.
folder.
Target folder got created at 5:13, just 1 minute back. Agree? So the target folder got created as part of downloading the APIs from the Maven global server to Maven local repository. Now, what in the working directory, what got updated, Arvind? src pom.xml file got updated, and then target folder got
created.
updated. Yeah, created. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And then as one file got updated and one file got created, if you see git status,
Untracked.
as pom.xml file is modified because we have included dependency tag, so it has an untracked file, and this new folder got created. That's why it's also called as an untracked file. Now, okay, clear, Arvind? Now I have a question for you, Arvind.
Yes, sir.
Now let's say we have copied the dependency tag, and we have downloaded the APIs from the Maven global server to Maven local repository. Maven global server to Maven local repository. Fine. Now you got to know that by mistake we have downloaded wrong APIs. Okay. By mistake we have included wrong dependency tags in the pom.xml file. With effect of that, the wrong APIs got downloaded. What should we do? Is there what can we do?
We have to remove that
Dependency tags from the
dependency tags and
pom.xml.
recompile that.
But anyways, it is downloaded, right?
Yeah, we can go to target folder and look for the downloads and remove that.
Or before downloading that, before modifying the pom.xml file, before downloading, we have created a commit called as first commit, isn't it? You can roll back to first commit, isn't it? So
yes.
the default project structure which was created, we have marked it as first commit.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Before modifying the code, before modifying any file, we have made it as first commit, as a mark. Whenever you want that particular status, you can roll back to that particular commit. That's the beauty of Git Bash. Got it? Beauty of version controlling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Clear? Clear about
Yes,
this?
sir.
Okay. Thank you. I hope you are following, Arvind. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So one file got modified, one folder got created. So both are untracked files. So what I'll do, I move into staging area. Performing a second commit. Okay. Next. Okay. Arvind, I want to continue the discussion with you. Is that fine?
Sure, sir.
SRC folder is having how many folders?
Main and test, 2 folders.
What is the importance of the main folder?
Main folders contains the total developer code.
Exactly. Open the main folder. Inside that there is Java. Inside that com dot, we have mentioned the group ID, right? Com.facebook. So according to that, the folder structure got created. In that Facebook, can you see there is one file, only one Java file, and this one Java file is nothing but a sample file created by Maven. Visualize in this particular folder, you'll find some 300 to 400 Java files based on the volume of the project. Agree?
Yes.
This is a complete entire location where the entire project source code is available.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's visualize this. I want to wantedly create one more file. Okay.
Yeah.
It as sample.java. And as per Java technology, the file name and the class name should match. Okay. So I have created 2 files. Visualize that you have 200 files or 300 files. Got it?
Okay.
Isn't it, Arvind? Do you understand? So this is a location where the entire project source code is available.
Yeah.
Okay. Next. Do you remember, Arvind, when we learned Git, we move the files to the local repository. When we are moving the files to the local repository, have you observed we are ignoring .class files there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Isn't it? When there are, let's say one developer has created 10 files, 10 Java files will be there, 10 .class files will be there. But we are not moving all the 20 files to the local repository. Or to conceptual knowledge, only the local repository should have only pure source code.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and then that will be uploaded into the GitHub repository. So obviously GitHub repository will also have the pure source code. So here also you'll have pure source code, but there should be class files also, right? So if there are 2 Java files, there should be 2 class files. If there are 200 Java files, there will be 200. There should be 200
class files as well.
.class files should be available. Yes. So in Maven, in a single shot, we can compile all the .java files at once.
Okay.
In a single shot, we can compile all the .java files at once by using the command called mbn compile. So I open the command prompt again. And then I write a command called compile again. Yes. Compiling to
source files.
files. If there are 200 files, all the 200 source files will be compiled. And then what should be generated? Dot class files will be generated.
Class files. Yes.
Where the dot class files will be generated? In the target folder. All the results will be available in the target folder only, Arvind.
Okay.
Do you remember
Okay,
there
sir.
was a target folder got created, isn't it?
Yeah.
The target folder under classes, under com.facebook, as there are 2 Java files, here there are 2 class files.
Class files.
If there are 200 Java files, here you will find 200 dot class files.
200
So in a single shot, we will generate all the dot class files at this location. Got it, Arvind?
Yes, sir.
Is it interesting or boring?
Yes, sir. No, sir, it's interesting.
Okay, fine. So that's part of compiling the pure source code in which is there as part of a main folder. Sorry, where is our project? Web app Facebook. SRC folder, main folder. We have compiled 2 dot class files. Yes. Next. What is test folder contains, Arvind?
The piece of code which we want to test
for testing our application, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
yes, sir.
So I want to test in the test folder Java com.facebook. So there's an Apple sample test folder. Okay, sample testing related file. So I wantedly also create one more file instead of app test. I'm writing it as sample test. Okay. Yes. So even testing related files should also be compiled. Okay. How many testing related files we are having in this case? Arvind, we have 2 testing related files.
Yes,
okay. Even these 2 testing related files should also be compiled. How can we compile the testing related files? By using a command called ambient test.
Okay.
We have a special command called ambient test. We have a command called ambient test, which will compile the dot class .java files available in the test directory.
Test region.
And the results will be available in which folder? Target folder again. Yes, perfect. All the results will be available in the target folder. I think you can see compiling to source files, and it has been successfully compiled. Go back to the target folder. Target folder under test-classes. Can you see the 2 class files have been generated? Clear, Arvind? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next, what we need to do, finally, we need to package all these .class files and generate an artifact.
Yes, sir.
For that, the command is ambient package. The final command is ambient package. The final command is
ambient package.
This will package all the .class files and finally generates the artifact. Done. And all the results will be available always in the target folder.
Yes, sir.
So go to the target folder. Can you see web app facebook.jar? Jar is an example of artifact. Jar is an example of an artifact. Did we experience the process of generating an artifact? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Arvind. Thank you for your support.
So one more thing, like as for as we are dealing with, I mean, like here in the example, we took the Java file. So if you go for another program like Python or some other language, the
approach will be different.
Folders will be different, right?
Obviously, folders will be different. Approach will be different. Commands will be different. But it is whose responsibility for building an artifact? It's not the DevOps engineer. It's purely a development team responsibility.
Yes.
So this is all the steps which are done by the development team.
Okay.
Yes, clear? Yes. Clear. So you don't need to worry. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anuj Singh.
Hi, Sunil. So I'll be very fast seeing the time. So am I audible?
Sorry, you're fast seeing
that? I see, seeing that matter of time, that interest of time, because other folks also want to ask questions.
Okay.
So
Okay, no
one
problem.
thing, we are running all these on Git, or we have created a folder on laptop and right click Git bash and make it as a working directory as we were working in Git.
You're right.
So we are working in Git, or just we open a particular folder and convert it, open that Git bash and make it working directory.
We have made it a working directory. We have just in case we are as part of developmental developing the artifacts also, we are marking milestones so that we can, if anything goes wrong, you can roll back to that particular project structure. In fact,
So we
Git
are still
commands
working on,
you
Git.
we are using Git in Maven.
Okay, we are using Git in Maven.
We are using the Git feature in Maven because in case if something wrong happens, you want to roll back it. So we know the advantage of Git. So we are referring this progress is using the milestone so that in future, if you want, you can roll back. It's not compulsory that you have to use Git related commands. Without Git, you can directly run the MBN commands and then you can also get the same result.
Okay, so coming to this repository, the MVN repository, MVN global repository, is it different from the Git
Maven
local
global,
repository?
completely different. Maven repository is a repository where the APIs is saved. So they are completely different.
Okay, move to the second question. I have list off, so I'll be very fast. When branch merge happen, for example, we have a master branch and we have a test branch. When we merge test branch to master branch, I understood your concept. But take an example, if test branch also has a child branch.
Okay.
And I want to merge it, will it throw an error that it has a child branch, sub-child branch? Please merge it to the first test, then merge
Whenever
it.
you want to merge a child branch, you have to merge it to the immediate parent.
Okay.
Not direct master. Okay.
Cool. So that means that will give an error. It will not happen. We have to first merge the child to test, then test to master. Okay. Next question. As a part of Git, is it folder specific? For example, a particular developer is working on 3 projects. For example, one project, one client, another banking client, and petroleum client. So he created 3 folders. So this will having 3 local repository per folder.
You're right. 3 working directories, 3 local repositories.
Okay. For example, when we create a git.ignore file, it is also untracked file. That's fine. It is also a hidden one.
That does not make any difference because by default, it's a hidden file.
No, correct. Perfect. Now the question is, if we move the things from staging area to the local repository, is that file also get?
Obviously, the .get-ignore file also moved it to local repository. From there, if you push the files into the remote repository, even the .get-ignore file will also be available in the remote repository.
Okay. So will it not
it does not make it, that's a special file. It does not make any difference with respect to package development.
Okay, one more thing. When we create, so that means if I talk about Git, the developer should always be working on a terminal. He should not create folders in laptop by right click and creating folder over there.
How did I create a folder?
Sometimes you show an example that, okay, this is
I am creating right click, I'm created a folder, right code.
Right.
Okay,
right,
so I'm creating it. So and then here I'm converting into working directory. Okay.
Right. So that's working directory is created. Now, every time I want to manage a code. So if I am a developer, I have to create files from the that terminal window and write code over there.
No. Assuming you are a Java developer, do you create the files from the terminal? Not at all. You will create the files from your editor, or you will develop the files like this public static void main,
right?
And then you save the files here. That files will be available here, and then you convert that
to working directory. Perfect.
Directory. Yes,
that part is understood, sir. Now
that
the question.
I have showcased that in one session actually. I have created 1.java, 2.java, 3.
Right. Now
then
the
I have
question.
converted the file into working directory. Yes,
right.
You're right.
This part is 100% okay. Now the question is that once you put 10 files, 15 files, and you convert it in a working directory, all those files are visible, and that is perfectly okay.
And all those files are considered as an untracked files.
Untracked file. Now I want to create a branch. The moment I create a branch, I have to go to the terminal and run git command, and that will create a branch. The moment I create a branch, now I need to put more files in that particular
just
test
creating
branch.
a branch, you cannot place the files in the branch. You need to check out to the new branch.
Right. I need to check out to the new branch.
Then only the files belongs to the new branch.
The moment I check out, first I create a branch, then I check out to the new branch. Then only when I go to that particular location and put files over there, only then
Then
they
only
will be
those
part
files are considered as a new branch files.
Right. Thank you very much. These are the big questions. So because you are creating file from terminal, touch. Okay, that's perfect.
No, to save time, I am doing it from the terminal.
Because nobody asks these questions.
Yeah.
Because the developers, they don't create file command line. They just create from the
obviously, yes, you are right.
Perfectly. So every time I need to put files in a branch, I have to go to the terminal, switch and flip over there, whatever do I want to there, and then put file over there. Corresponding files will be that in the
You are
branch.
right.
Perfectly. And last questions, I hope.
So you're listing out all the questions right from.
I am reading all the videos, and I have created a notepad file. Wherever I have a guide, I type it so that whenever guide chance, I'll be very fast and save time.
It's like a rapid fire round.
That's true, sir. The developer should be okay.
Okay. Next one.
Notepad file that's done. Okay. If I delete the .git folder, what would happen to the local repository?
That is not at all considered as a local repository. It's something like a normal folder.
Normal folder. So if I delete that .git, and even then I have an option to convert it to local repository.
Again, you need to write git init again.
Git init again. And my code will not be lost, right?
Your code will not be lost. That file will be available at all.
So that means once Git is installed, a local repository is created, and that will not lose.
You will not lose the data. You will not lose the code.
So that means it will create multiple local repositories the moment I create multiple folder and make it as a working directory. If I need to work on 5-6 projects.
No. Okay. No. You said that you want to remove the .git folder. When you remove the .git folder, it is not at all considered as a working directory. It is again considered as a normal directory, like in Windows folder.
But local directory is created. But local repository is created.
Once the local repository is created, after creating the local repository, you are removing the .git folder.
Right.
When you remove the .git folder, you cannot push the commands into the remote repository at all.
Correct. But local repository still exists. The moment I convert it
still exists, but it's meaningless. It's not usable. There's no Git software at all. Okay.
No.
The complete Git software is running behind the .git folder.
Okay. So that means if I delete a .git folder, will I have to go and reinstall?
You have to recreate it by using reinit.
Reinit, right? The moment I do it, the same.
The older branch will be lost.
Okay. Everything is
you're starting from the scratch again.
Oh, so that means it will delete my
the history is lost.
Local repository as well.
Everything is cleared.
If I have pushed 500, say I have put 500 files, the moment I deleted .git, that 500 files which are there in the local repository, they will be lost. Okay. Thank you, sir. This is the end of my questions, and I'll keep asking.
And you don't need to worry about all this because it's purely which role.
No, perfectly. These are my doubts.
You are right. But keep in mind that handling source code is pure developer.
That's perfect.
So thank you, sir. They'll try to confuse you. Okay, so stick to the what we say concepts.
Thank you. You clarify most of the doubts. Thank you.
And whenever we are learning a tool in DevOps, especially, the perspective in which we are learning is very, very important. Okay, you have to learn Git from a developer perspective. We need to learn Maven from the developer perspective, and Jenkins is the core DevOps engineer role, which we are starting soon. Okay.
So I belong to infra. My profile is infra. I support Linux environment, virtualization, these kind of platform.
You will enjoy Docker and Ansible.
That's true. In fact, Ansible we are already created in our environment. We are
you already know Ansible.
Yes, but a little bit, not as of you.
If you have any doubts, we'll ask you. I will also get a chance.
Definitely, I'll create such questions, and once get chance, I'll ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Maheshwara, I hope now you got the visualization, how exactly the artifact is ready, isn't it? This was you are expecting.
Yes.
Now, Maheshwara,
yeah.
Now look at my point. Now we got this artifact. Am I right?
So after MN package, we got the artifact.
The artifact. Look at this pictorial representation. Now we have the artifact ready, isn't it?
Right.
1 minute, please. Let me take a note of the artifact. Okay. Whatever it is.
So it will come in
One
that.
minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. This is the
Yeah.
artifact we have ready. Okay. It could be, let's say, web app Facebook dot jar.
Okay.
Now, what do we do with this artifact?
See, I have worked in some previous projects like this, like enterprise archive files, jar files means we try to deploy these projects in a runtime environment, actually. Runtime environment somewhere, actually.
Exactly. So the next part of action, participants, please try to understand. The source code completion, source code development is completed. We have packaged the source code, and now the artifact is ready. As Mr. Maheshwara said, what do we do with the jar file? Do we give this jar file to the client in a pen drive or something like that? Not at all. They want the application which is running. That means we have to deploy the artifact. What we have to deploy to we have to deploy the artifact to where we have to deploy. We have to deploy to server. To which server? When it's a server, you have to deploy it in the application servers or web servers like Tomcat, WebLogic, and WebSphere. So once the artifact is deployed into the server, then you can access your application. You can experience the application. This deployment of artifact into the web servers or application servers can be done by using a tool called as Jenkins. So look at the series of steps we are learning. As a DevOps, you should have a complete thorough visualization of a source, build, and release steps. We have built the artifact. How do you release it to the client? We release it by deploying it into the servers. And we don't do manual deployment. We will be deploying using the tool called as Jenkins. In tomorrow's session, we will be learning how can we use Jenkins tool and how can we use this tool for deployment of the artifact into the server so that the application is up and live. So that's very interesting. And as we know, we will not have sessions on Saturday, Sunday. The next session will be on Monday, where we'll experience the concept of, we'll introduce the concept of Jenkins. Rajesh, good evening.
Yeah, Sunil. Actually, we need to push this jar file to the GitHub, right? From there, Jenkins will pull the right.
We'll see it soon. How Jenkins will pull, first we'll experience the Jenkins environment and we'll learn how exactly we can pull it. Okay. We'll integrate,
sure.
We'll integrate GitMap into Jenkins so that your question will be answered. Okay.
Okay.
Anuj Singh, I'm ready for your rapid fire. You have anything more? Cannot hear you.
Hello, am I okay? Visible,
Yes.
audible? So
You're
I'll keep documenting my questions and I'll ask.
I can see your hand raised now. You have
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me lower it.
Okay.
I forgot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please continue.
Priyadarshini.
Hi Sunil, I have one quick question. Like we are compiling all the test related files using MVN test. How to compile specific test files? Is there any command?
No, there's no concept of, we have to compile all the files at one go. There's no concept of specific files. Okay. That's how the concept is. The artifact is packaging of all the files.
Yeah. For example, we updated only small piece of code and want to update.
But still you have to package all the source code at once. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
How it happens once the developer uploads it, pushed into the code, we automate these activities. Okay, using the tool called Jenkins. You'll understand it, Priyadarshini. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Krishna Rao.
Good evening, Sunil. We are creating source code in Git repository. By using Maven, we are getting jar files.
Yeah, right. We got the artifact. Example of an artifact is a jar file.
Jar file. Okay. First of all, we're creating source code in local file, and we convert and it go to the Git repository, GitHub, and then
from there GitHub we are packaging the source code and we are generating an artifact. Okay.
Thank you. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
yeah, thank you. Okay. Thank you all. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Do not miss Monday's session. Have a nice weekend where we are experiencing the concept of Jenkins, which is most important. Thank you and see you on Monday.